All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another stream. Another Wednesday stream. So we're back on the Ouranosaurus. Just before stream, I was actually prepping some stuff for the work I wanted to do this evening. So we're gonna do some texture work. It's not gonna be. I have the other file, this one, that we've been working on so far. I have done a bit of work to it. It's not finalized or anything, but I have done a little bit of extra work to it, just getting the patterns more defined and stuff like that. But today there's another aspect of the skins that we need to take into account, and that's what I'm actually going to be dealing with right now. So that's what I prepped this file for. So we're going to be working on the skin texture roughness. And the reason why this is done separately is because the roughness map corresponds to a different UV set than the like the normal skin texture. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. Let me just make sure I have my references and everything set, ready to go. Check Discord really quick also. Okay. Here we go. So it's going to kind of look, I hope it's interesting. I'm going to go through like the whole process for you guys. But this is not like, we're just focused on the specularity, the roughness of the skin. So how it looks when light hits it, and what parts look dull and what parts look shiny, basically, is what's going to happen. So if you look at this right now, you see there's nothing here. So we're going to work on the skin. I'm going to add fill layer. Material properties. Just 1 second. Shader settings. That's not what I want. Viewport. I'm going to reset the UI because I'm missing a portion of something that I need. There it is. So it's called properties fill. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so you can see here, this is the UV set that we're working on. And the thing that's unique about this UV set is that it's mirrored. So whatever I do to one side is going to happen to the other side. As opposed to this one, where if you look at the UVs, they're not mirrored. Each side has its own unique island. So I could do some asymmetrical details on this, whereas the other one, you can't. If any change I make to one side is going to be made to the other side, which doesn't really matter for the roughness, because that's kind of like a texture that kind of sits on top of everything. It's kind of like you're not really going to notice, sort of thing. But with the other like skin coloration, you're more likely to notice that stuff. So that's one of the main reasons why those are treated differently. Orthographic. So I want to make sure that I am affecting only roughness. And so as you can see right now, this is kind of like a base value. If I move the light around, you can see it's kind of like, it's not super shiny and it's not super like rough either. If I want to make it super, like, here's the super, kind of can't see it as good as in this lighting. You can see, like, if I make the material darker, you can see how specular it is. It's very shiny, almost looks like it's wet. If I turn the up, it becomes very matte. So what we're going to be manipulating is like how this is all perceived by someone. What looks shiny, what's not. So I'm going to start with like a base. I'm trying to think of what the average skin roughness would be. I'm going to look at some reference really quick. I'm just looking at some quick reptile stuff, reptile reference. And we're also going to have multiple materials here, right? So we have the skin and we have like other stuff like the keratin on the beak and on the claws and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to have to do, basically 2 sets. A set per material. We also have the interior of the mouth, which is different as well. Okay, so I'm gonna call this my base. We'll keep this dark like this, just so we can tell what's happening on the surface a little bit better. And then I'm gonna duplicate this. I want to make it very rough. Almost as if, like, I'm imagining that this is like a dirt, some kind of dirt layer or something. I want to make it pretty rough. And then what I'm going to do is mask it out in the areas that I don't want it to be. Black mask. Add. I'll add a fill. And then here is where I want to add. I'm going to start with the cavity. So I'm putting the curvature map in that I baked out earlier. I don't want it to affect the color. I just want it to affect the roughness. So you can already see, like, it should be doing... It's reversed though. I need to invert it. But you can see that it's starting to affect the scales. So right now, whatever is white, I think is shiny, and whatever is black, or is that whatever is black is shiny, whatever is white is super rough, I think. And what I want is for it to be reversed. So I need to invert. So this is what I want. If I go back to the material, you can see that. So everything that's low, like all those crevices, is going to be rougher. And you can kind of see the effect that we're getting. Like this is kind of like what it's going to look like with the glancing light. It looks really cool. It kind of pops the texture. So if I were to turn that off, you see how even it would look? Turn that back on. That's a good start, but we're going to do more to it than this. Because the idea is to get a lot of variation into this. So we're going to start layering stuff on top of this to get some nice visual... just to make it look more naturalistic, because right now, I mean, there is a good degree here. It feels okay, but I think we can add some more stuff to it. We're gonna add another fill, and we are going to set this to I want to see what textures that I have here. I just want something that'll break up the evenness. This is just black and white spots, I believe. Texture. So you'll see what I mean by adding variation. So you see that? If I turn this off, it's all like, look at the white and think of the white as like one value, right? Like it's one intensity. And if you look at the intensity of that white across the whole body of the creature, you can see that it's super even. Like the white doesn't change. It's pure white everywhere. So what this will do is it's going to start introducing like random gray and super dark stuff in there. It's probably a little bit too much, so I can tone it down. We will probably want it to be fairly contrasty though, but I want to kind of like work up to it rather than like just blast it with those values. And I'm always going to check the light on here, making sure that what I'm adjusting looks convincing. Because I want everything to have a nice like degree of variation. If something looks too smooth, too rough, and in like large patches, I want to make sure to adjust. Sure, that's okay. Okay. This might be pretty quick to, like, I don't know. I didn't spend, like, for the Eocarcharia, I didn't spend a ton of time fussing about the roughness. This is kind of like a general skin roughness too. It's not like The thing about that's kind of difficult about the dinosaurs in game is that they're traveling through the world, right? They're going through multiple environments, so you can't really specify what the roughness is, because they could get rained on, they could step through like mud, they could go through like a dust storm or something, and that kind of thing is hard to account for. Because if I were doing just this for just like a singular render, I would try to think of like, okay, what has the animal been through, and try to include some of that storytelling in the roughness. Like maybe it's been through, it just came out of a dust storm and it's really dusty, or maybe it's just walked through some mud like a day ago and now there's mud on the feet that's dried. It's that kind of thing is what I would usually think about, but because this is a video game creature, there's too many variables basically. So what I'm trying to do is get like a general, like what is the general status of the skin at any given time if they were like in a neutral environment, basically. That's what I'm trying to do. So what I can also do, I'm going to try to establish the interior of the mouth, because the interior of the mouth is going to need to be obviously like wet, right? Because it's got all the saliva and stuff in there. So we're going to add a pass on that. We're going to make that super dark because we want it to be shiny. To add a mask. We'll use a black mask first and then we'll reveal it. Some paint. Mark, hi, how's it going? And Sanjar, thank you. Welcome to the stream. This isn't a carnivore, but I'd be terrified if I met this at night in game, no matter the species. Yeah, honestly, I'd be terrified meeting a herbivore more than a carnivore, I think. They would both be very scary, but like it's just like you know, in real life, like here in North America, I think you'd probably be, especially going into like Alaska, Canada and all that, your primary worry is actually like moose. And then after the moose, you're worried about like grizzly bears and stuff like that. It's just they're very big animals and they're very skittish, and when you combine like scared and big and strong, you have the potential for like lots of, you know, I don't think an animal like this would think twice. You know, they'd see you as a predator or some kind of threat and they'd charge you or try to stomp you out or something. I think. A lot of ways they're more scary than carnivores are. I think there's like that gentle giant sort of stereotype when it comes to herbivores is kind of it's a little overplayed, I think. Maybe the word. There are definitely herbivores that are kind of big and gentle, but I think a lot of the time they're just as dangerous, if not more so. I'm gonna go to 3D 2D view because I'm having trouble seeing the inside of the mouth. That's one of the things about these hadrosaur creatures, is that it's pretty hard to tell what the inside of the mouth is doing, or like not what it's doing, but like paint in there, because it's so tiny, like the space is so cramped. also going to take this base color, lighten it up, so I need to see what I'm doing in here. I'm gonna add a color to this. That way I can tell where I'm painting. As if it's just white, I'm gonna have a hard time seeing what I'm doing in here. I think just kind of playing off what you're saying, Mark. Sometimes I do think about like if I could go back in time and meet one of these creatures, or just like sit in their environment for a while, like where would I go and what would I do and what would I want to see? And a lot of it is like, if I'm being really realistic about it, I think I would just want to see something, be very far away and be able to see like maybe like a herd of them from a distance. Or like something smaller. Some kind of small guy. Unless I'm able to like take my own like safety equipment into the past with me. I don't know what I would take. Okay. So we're getting some of this in here. Right now it's kind of very perfect. So I do want it to be glossy in here. But I don't want it to be like perfectly uniform all the way around. And this area here, I need to like fade out. And I will use some kind of fuzzy brush for that. It's going to be like a blend there. That goes from the interior of the mouth to the outside. And then anything else that I want to be like kind of the same level of... I usually group the mouth and the nose and the eyes together. So let's label this stuff. This is the mouth. Let's try and be organized out here. This is the... We add another paint layer. This is going to be the nostril. In there. And then we want some of this sort of glossiness in the eye here. Like in the tear duct areas, basically. That's where I want this to be. Right here. Kind of hard to see there. Try and change the background so I can have something that's a little bit more illuminated. Something like that. Okay. That looks okay. As far as the region is concerned, let's see what the mask actually looks like. There's like some stray bits here and there. I don't know why that stuff happens. It's kind of annoying, but just gotta clean it up. I think my brush was probably too big, and then it clipped into the other side of the mesh. Something that I like to do too is once I have the mask, because this whole thing right here, this is considered a mask, this black and white sort of stuff. Once I have the mask where I like it, what I do add is just a little bit of a blur, just to blur out the edges just a tiny bit. That might be a little bit too much. It doesn't need to be much at all, but just to like help soften the look of it right there. And then, so this is what I would consider like, so we're gonna call this the mouth. Interior. I want it to be pretty glossy, but not like super duper. How do I want to do this? Let's see. Because I want some like unevenness here, just a slight bit. I think what I have to do is I'll make this super glossy, and then I'll duplicate it. This one is going to be just slightly duller, slightly less gloss. Put this in a group here. And this one, over the top of everything here, is going to get another fill. And we're gonna set this to some kind of grainy sort of texture. Something to add some noise in there. Some variation. And see how it's okay, so it's applying it to everything. Like it's spilling outside. I think if I set it to multiply, it'll be, yeah. All right, planar projection, and then I want to scale it down. Just to add that graininess in there, as if like, because it wouldn't be like uniformly the same, even if it in like, I don't Like maybe his mouth has been open for a little bit, maybe it's not perfectly closed. Just the distribution of saliva in his mouth isn't like perfectly uniform. Just some variation in there, so it's not all looking too samey. That's, you know, you'll hear me say that a lot while I'm working on these textures. It's just like when you're trying to make something look naturalistic, variation is really the key to it all. And it a little goes a long way. Like it doesn't have to be like a ton of stuff. Overall, I want it to still be glossy, but like if the light catches it in a certain way, I would like there to be some differences in here. That's too. Let me see. If I go to my roughness, see that? I think I could actually exaggerate it a little bit more. If I go here and turn this up just a little bit. Yeah, somewhere around there, I think. I look at the tongue. Something like that. And then I don't need the color information, so I'm gonna turn that off. So that's starting to look. I like this area up here on the top of the head. You can start seeing the little catches of light on the skin. That's what I'm looking for, basically. Okay, so we got the mouth. This is going to be the mouth. What I do want to do, this, I might need to refer to one of these masks in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an anchor point here. Capitalize that O for some reason. And then in case I ever need to call that mask up later, I will I'll be able to do that. Okay. So I'm going to work on what can I work on now? I'll work on the keratin. We'll just duplicate this because it's kind of... actually, let me delete all of this. So we're back at this like base, this super glossy material. I want to make the keratin slightly glossier than the skin itself. So it's glossier than the base skin texture, but it's not as glossy as the mouth, of course. So we'll start somewhere like that, and then we'll just mask things off. Add a paint here. Actually, I want a black mask. I want to paint. And we'll do another color because it's easy to see. Something like that. So the beak, what else do I need to do? Beak, the front toe claws, and the back ones. Those will be the keratin areas that I will paint out. Captain Reptile, how is the Ouranosaurus going to stand up against the Eocar in a fight? Like in game, I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure Eo is actually much smaller than Ourano. I'd have to double check on the scaling, like the size compared to each other. But the Eocarcharia isn't like a huge theropod. So I don't know if that factors into stuff. I think pretty much, I mean, unless the herbivore that the dinosaur is going after is like substantially smaller than the predator, I feel like the predator has a good chance of being injured or killed. If we're talking about like real life, you know. In the game, who knows what can happen, depending on what the mechanics are, like the abilities are, stuff like that. Who knows? And then there's also just like balancing. So you know, once the game is out, you might, if it's any other game, right? Like you might go through eras of one dinosaur being really good and versus other dinosaurs, and then there could be like a patch and it gets balanced out to a different way. Like who knows what will happen once the game is launched. Yeah, exactly, Captain. I think it depends on how the fighting is implemented in the game. Because you could have a thing, like, I'm just speculating. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. But you could have a thing where, like, maybe the Ourano is really big, but maybe it's also very slow. So maybe it takes a while for it to, like, wind up its attacks. And that means that the Eocarcharia can get in and takes a few bites. But if it does get hit, it could be taken, you know, there could be a lot of damage dealt. Stuff like that. If you're playing as an EO, you'd really want to pay attention to the timing of things. Be very careful. I personally like when combat systems make you think, right? Like I like when there's strategy involved. You have to wait for the perfect time, spacing, matching of abilities against each other, stuff like that. It's always really fun. We can't wait to see how sauropods will be implemented into the game. Yeah, that should be cool. I don't know exactly what the lineup is like. I can't remember it. I saw it a while ago. I know they have it up on Discord, I think. I didn't see if there was any sauropods in there. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm trying to look. I don't know if I can find it right now. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see. I also really hope that the game is updated more frequently than the other games. Oh, yeah. I don't know how that's going with all of the Isle stuff. I keep saying in the streams is like I haven't played that game for a long time. Trying to think of when the last time I played. 2018, 2019 maybe. I'm just masking out these toe claws really quick. So that looks pretty good to me. Let me check the actual mask. If I change the view, like the viewport preview, then you can kind of see where there's areas that are like missing or excuse me, just spots that I need to clear up there. And same thing with everything else, right? I'm going to add some variation. So I would consider this like the base roughness for it. And then what we'll do is it's going to change this to keratin. Duplicate this. I want to refer to this later, so that's keratin base. We're gonna make this one more rough, pretty rough, and then in here I'm going to add a fill. This is going to be the curvature map. We're going to do apply. Play around with the opacity. The blending modes, I mean. What I actually need to do, this is going to be a little bit more complex. Hide that. This goes to normal. We need to invert this. I need levels, invert. So that way this is only showing the white areas. And then this gets turned off. Let me see what's going on in here. You can see it's overspilling onto the other areas, but I'm gonna add a anchor point. No, I'm gonna add a fill. We're gonna use the anchor point that I made. And this is going to be a mask. So I'm going to turn this to multiply. And this is going to keep everything that I have inside here. So now what should be showing is just the white areas. I've got some like artifacts in there that I don't like, so I'm going to take those out soon, but what should be showing is that. So like the deeper areas, the like recessed parts should be rougher than the high parts, which looks like it's going okay. I need to exaggerate it more, but that's what's going to happen. If I go to roughness and check it out, that's what it looks like. Turn this off. You should be able to see underneath there. I think I'm gonna add another levels, maybe. Let's see. Just to crunch these, make them a little bit stronger, contrastier. That. And we're gonna have to actually paint some stuff here because I don't want these weird, like, I think it's picking up some kind of some parts of the geometry for some reason. So I'm gonna paint all that stuff out. I think the beak looks fine. Check the claws. Yeah, there's like lines. So I'll probably paint a little bit by hand more here because I want to make sure. Let's see if I can find a good brush. This dirt one looks pretty good. I'm just trying to think of like where dirt would collect. Stuff like that. So in like little creases around the nails. Or the claws, I mean. That's where I'm adding some hand-painted stuff. Because I think this should be a little bit rougher than the rest of it. Just to kind of mimic where dust and stuff would settle in. It'll give a little bit of randomness too. Like I was talking about. So that's kind of what the claws and stuff look like. I'm going to do the back feet. I mean the back claws as well. Because I still need to wrap up this. I'm not really sure why this has these like artifacts in them. I have to look into that. If I have to rebake the curvature map, then I might need to do that. Captain Reptile, what dinosaur are you most excited for? I'm not sure. I tend to be just excited for the ones that I'm currently working on. I mean, seeing the Eocarcharia walking around currently is pretty cool. I would love to jump in the game and play as the EO. Same with the Urano. And then I'm also working on the Puru, so like all of these guys, I'm really excited to see them in game, you know. As far as like other dinosaurs, I'm not exactly sure what the species are, but any like Spinosaurid would be cool. If there's Spinosaurids planned in the lineup. Pterosaurs, really cool. What else? Thyreophorans would be really cool. So like Stegosaurs or Ankylosaurs. I'm looking forward to seeing if there are any. Yeah. I mean, my all-time, like my personal favorite dinosaurs, I don't know if they're in the game or not, you know. But I would love to see a Megaraptor. I love Megaraptorans. I just think they're really cool looking dinos. Spartan, Irritator, and Spino are the only Spinosaurus I've seen in the roster. Okay. Irritator's really cool. I would not mind playing as an Irritator. I mean, honestly, like, I think, I know everybody's very Spinosaurus crazy right now. There's a lot of stuff going on with Spinosaurus. He's in Jurassic Park. He's in Walking with Dinosaurs, all that stuff. I don't know if I'm the biggest Spinosaurus fan. I like Spinosaur, I like Baryonyx, I like Irritator. I guess like the other family members are kind of more interesting to me than Spinosaurus itself. Although they, they all are cool in their own way. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna turn off this color information that we don't need. I'm just gonna darken this. Well, where's the this is the color. Oh, okay. I was adjusting the wrong slider. Make this pretty dark just so I can see like what's going on with the roughness here. Really move move the light around to kind of check everything. I'm looking for anywhere that looks too even, anywhere that looks too like too shiny, too dull. Like, you gotta have a balance. I'm focusing on the like glancing angles because that's really where you're gonna catch a lot of it. Especially on the face, on the sail. Take a look at the claws. The cool thing about this stuff is, I mean, it's all adjustable too, so. If we have to come back and change anything about this later, we can. I think that's workable. I have to see how it looks when I combine it with the skin texture. We may need to do some adjusting there. Let me take a look at this here. Where are my texture sets? I'm trying to, where is my little window? Here it is. Could duplicate this. We delete this mask. Add a fill. And do something more contrasty here. Hey Dasher, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you've been well. I am just texturing stuff today. We're working on the roughness map for the Urano. I have the other maps. Well, I have the skin texture over here, but I figured I'd just do a quick roughness map. So this is what the skin looks like the colorized part. It's not done, but it's on its way. I actually kind of like the way, so we'll see how it works, right? But I might want to, let me check the roughness here, what the values are. Where's this coming from? I think I have like a temporary roughness layer. And it's pretty, yeah, it's just catching the crevices and it's pretty rough. The base roughness, I don't know if I have a base roughness. I don't. Okay. Because I kind of like the way this looks already right here. So we'll see what I need to adjust on on this guy here. To make that work. So I kind of like how that was looking on the colorized version, the roughness. So if I turn this on, go to my roughness map, put this on and off. See, this is kind of what I was talking about. You see how it, like, there's definitely patches of this that are too rough now. I think, in my opinion. I do want some of that type of thing going on, but I don't want it to be so crazy, like splotchy. Let me see. What am I controlling here? That's the normal. Turn this down. I can bring some of that in, just a little bit of it. I keep on thinking that I'm in Blender, and I keep hitting the keyboard shortcuts to switch camera views. And I think I did that like earlier. I hit 3 to switch to side view, and it totally screwed Substance Painter up. I don't know what I did. So I hope that doesn't happen soon. 4 a.m. in your country. Wow. Oh, wow. Congratulations, man. That's an exciting day. I hope you have a good time. Yeah, thanks for being here. I mean, that's a big deal. Lots of stuff probably going on for you today, right? Like the ceremony, of course, and you having like a party or anything like that? Any type of celebration? You nervous at all? Lab Rat, welcome. Good to see you again. Turning that on and off. What might also be fun is to like do the opposite. So if I take this and I duplicate it, but instead of going super rough, I go the opposite. And then let's see. Highlight. I don't want it to be super obvious. Something like this. It's kind of a hard balance between like what's too too much, what's not enough. I definitely want to be able to see the little scales popping out. Like I want to be able to see the individual scales when you like catch the light. But I don't want it to look... it's a very specific kind of thing I'm trying to look for. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like one of those things where you know it when you see it. And it's kind of, for me, it's a lot of back and forth, like refining, making a change, trying something out, taking it off. So I do like that, but I'm wondering if I go to my roughness. I'm wondering if I need to reinforce the scales again, because they're kind of getting lost. Maybe a little bit. So what I could do is duplicate this. Take this off. Add a black mask. Fill it there. So that should be adding the yeah, that's kind of what I want. So it's adding the dark, like the specular, back on top of everything. It should be leaving the low points alone still. But this is... I'm trying to like target this a little bit. Give me a sec. I'm going to add levels. Make the whites super bright. Or try to. Yeah, I think I want to do something like that. I want to catch just the littlest, like the highest little points of the scales. Check this. Dasher, yeah, where I live in Sweden, it's a really big thing to graduate high school. There's all of these traditions. Oh, really? Oh, cool. That sounds pretty interesting. It sounds like you're gonna have a busy day, right? When I graduated high school, I mean, there was like a ceremony in the morning where we had to get dressed up for, and we of course had our like cap and gown things. The ceremony was only like maybe like an hour. So when I graduated high school, I'm from a very, very small town. So my graduating class in high school, it was like 52 people, I think. So it's not like, I know there's sometimes there's graduating classes that are like, I have friends that come from bigger cities and their graduating classes were like in the hundreds, you know. So sometimes those ceremonies can last forever when you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to get their name called, you know. But then afterwards, we had like a party, just, you know, close friends and family, which is really all I wanted. And that was pretty much it. I don't know if that's considered a big deal. You guys may have more more to do. But yeah. I remember feeling like kind of like relieved because I knew I didn't have to go to school. Like, well, I didn't have to go to that school again. Because of course school has its pluses and minuses. All my friends are there, of course, and I enjoyed hanging out with them. But it's also like, it's work. Some of that work isn't like the most fun. Some of the people there aren't the most fun either. Especially, I think in a small town, maybe. It's like I literally knew everybody. Like I knew, it's like one of those towns where just everybody knows everybody. You know, I knew, like my mom knew my friends' moms and their cousins, and my mom went to school with their mom, and you know, all kinds of stuff like that. Like multi-generations of the same families, you know. I think that's partially why I was pretty excited to start. I was both excited and like pretty scared of going to college, because college it was in a big city, and I hadn't really been exposed to a lot of that before. Coming from a really small town where everybody knows everybody, and then going to a big city where you really don't know anyone. Like you're just everyone. You kind of feel alone almost. Was pretty intense. And also because I was, in my family, I was the first one to graduate and then go to college. So I was kind of like, in a weird way, I was kind of like a guinea pig. Like we didn't really know what was going on, and like it was all kind of new to everybody. So I got to be the test subject, you know. But unfortunately, everything was fine. It was all good. Really, the scariest part of being in the city is just navigating it. Like, knowing where to go, making sure you're not getting into like a car accident. There's so many people, so much traffic. You make one wrong turn and like, you're just off, you know, like you're just detoured for a while trying to get back on track. And this was before, like, I guess they had, I'm dating myself, I guess, but like there were smartphones and there was like Google Maps and stuff, right? But I didn't have a smartphone. Like I for the longest time I resisted having a smartphone. I just had a dumb little flip phone. So I did not have access to like Google Maps on my phone. So I was just kind of learning to navigate the whole city on my own, basically. Lab rat. Texture seems to be coming along nicely. Thank you. I think it's working. I'm kind of just... This is kind of what this part of texturing is. It's like turning things on and off, checking what they look like, trying this value, trying that value. It's kind of the realities of making a roughness texture. But it's super, super important though, is like it adds a lot of what the realism is to the skin. You can really, really make something look weird if you're not careful with the roughness map. So it's kind of, you know, kind of boring, I guess, but it's a necessary thing. And this is really easy. So we're using the eye, and all I need to do for the eye is take the roughness and make it really glossy. And that's the easiest thing you could ever do for roughness. Now he looks like he's got no soul. He's a soulless Ourano. We'll get his eyes in there eventually, of course. Honestly, like, it's kind of cool seeing just like a pure, like, blacked out, like, what's the, I can't remember what the name of the skin color is. Like there's leopards that have like black base coat, and then they have spots that are also black. I can't remember what they refer to that as, that type of pattern. But it'd be cool to see, like, this kind of looks cool. Just a pure black character. Maybe probably with some variation though, like some subtle spots or something. Would be cool. Hi, Brad. I'm very easily entertained. I used to watch fish tanks for hours as a kid, so this is relaxing to watch me. Okay, good. I was the same way. I had a fish tank growing up, and it would be really, like, I wouldn't realize how long I would be sitting in front of the fish tank, but I would just kind of sit there and watch the fish swim around and do stuff, and the next thing you know, it's like an hour passed by and you didn't even realize it. I kind of miss having a fish tank too. I wish I had one. Am I on the right layer? I am on the right layer. And the reason why I'm changing everything to be so dark is just because it's much easier for me to see the specularity on dark objects. If it was brighter, then it's harder to see what's happening. So that's why everything is turned black or very, very dark. I think that's working for me, at least. I adjusted the viewport so that way it's supposed to, according to this tutorial I followed, it's supposed to reflect, like, it's supposed to mimic what Unreal Engine 5 would look like in the viewport here. So there's less, like, sometimes Substance Painter, when you texture something in Substance Painter, it just doesn't translate as well to the in-engine models. And it kind of causes problems because you kind of have to do some guesswork. You have to, like, export it from here, get it into Unreal, check what it's looking like, and then if there's something's wrong, you have to come back to Substance Painter, fix it, then re-export it, and then maybe, you know, maybe you fixed it, maybe you didn't. That's kind of what I'm trying to eliminate with this method. But we'll see how it goes. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna do a test export. I'm a little nervous to export it because I don't know if my computer's gonna like it very much, but we'll try it. File, export textures. Sorry, give me 1 second. This is gonna be a little bit of a setup. I have to tell it specifically what textures to pay attention to and what not to. Textures. Your exports. We're selecting this. I want everything. I want the eyes. Normal. Okay. And then I want the size to be $4K. We're gonna export. Looks melanistic. Yes, that's the word that I was trying to remember. Melanistic. I'm gonna go to, this is the Urano that I have in Blender. Turn on the texture. Are you loading? Is something going on? Oh, this is the high poly. I need the low poly. This is the old skin texture, so I'll probably have to export like a temporary version of the current texture. This is what I want. Wait, roughness V1. This is not what I want here. I want V0. This goes. Okay. And now I need to separate colors. And I need to remember which channel has the roughness map. I have a cheat sheet that I made for myself on a separate window because this stuff I knew I would have trouble remembering. Did I tell myself what channel goes where? Is the question. We can see. We can check. Because apparently I didn't. Where is the export file? Export textures. We need to go to the templates. We go creatures. And then we go roughness goes out of the green channel. So green goes into roughness. And then I completely have to remember how to navigate in this viewport. That looks about right. Let me see how it looks rendered. I need to pick HDRI. Let's not do HDRI then, because I don't have them loaded up. Just do that, I guess. Cycles view. Looks a little too shiny to me. Then again, this is Blender, not Unreal Engine. We're gonna export the skin texture too. Library. At one point, I used to practice trying to sketch each type of fish we had. That's pretty cool. Did you have a favorite type of fish, or like what type of tank did you have? Was it saltwater or freshwater? Body. I just want this one. Body. I want the color. That's all I want. And I want it to be temp. I click on the Urano, go over to the object. I need this one. Select the texture. Pop that in. That do anything? This one. Open. There we go. It might be also because I do have like, let me make sure this looks color management. I don't have any filters. And it's definitely got the specularity going. It does look a little bit too shiny, I think. I have to... Let me see if I can download a quick HDRI. Something overcast. Just to see, because I think part of it might be the lighting. Turn off the... Because it's very harsh. To find one really quick one. I have a bunch, but I don't have my hard drive connected right now. I should have put it in there. I need something kind of soft, just like maybe warm. We'll try a warm and a cool one. Download that. And then let's try something even more neutral, kind of gray. And then something that has a more of a cool tone. This one. Just to kind of get different, you know, different vibe. There we go. Grab these, put them in folder. You guys, let me know if you're seeing anything weird happening to the stream, because I'm rendering right at the same time as I'm streaming. So if you're seeing any kind of like weird hiccups or anything, like, let me know. I've never done this on stream before. So if there's any weirdness, I need to maybe not render while I'm streaming, and just kind of leave it like that, you know. I need to go to the world view. I need to go to environment texture, open environment texture. It goes, I put it in the Ouranosaurus folder. Let's try this one. Where was it? Oh, that's much brighter than I thought it was going to be. This one's probably going to be even more bright. That's a nice, like, warm tone, though, for the skin texture. Complements it pretty nicely, I think. Okay, to me, that's too shiny. But I don't know, maybe I'm not... this is not displaying properly, because this is set to sRGB. And this needs to be set to non-color. That's better. That's probably what it was. Now taking a look at this. It's not bad. Let's see. So again, I'm looking at it from the glancing views. And just trying to check in on the variation that I'm seeing. So it's not bad. It's definitely like, I think it went from being maybe too like shiny to maybe a little bit too matte. But it's not, it's close to what I think I would like to see. Then again, like this is Blender, it's not and it's using cycles. So it's not using the like a game engine. So I might leave it for now and see how it goes. Because I do like the way it looks in Substance Painter. I'm just gonna save this really quick. I do like the way it looks in Substance Painter, and I would say I would trust the way the Substance Render viewport looks right now over what Blender is showing me. This. Yeah. I think I'm gonna hang out with this for a while. We'll see how it looks in engine, and if it needs adjustment, then we can adjust it, but I think this is okay. We have about 15 minutes, so I think I'm just gonna kind of come back to this model and like start to figure out what I'm gonna do here. It's nearly there. It's just I need to get some. I was doing a lot of like tweaks to it since we last met. Mostly just like getting a little more detail, but I think some of the details are like spilling over into areas that aren't supposed to be showing. Oh, nice. Freshwater tanks. Okay, cool. A bala shark. I think I might have had the same. Oh, yeah. It doesn't look like a frog in the viewport anymore. That's good, right? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like dial back some of these areas that I was working on earlier, because they got a little bit too crazy with the like detail breakup on the edges. I do like some of this randomness that was introduced, but I don't want it to be like so much that it starts to deviate too much from the original concept. So I'm gonna like pick and choose areas to emphasize, de-emphasize. I wish I could, just because of the way the UVs are set up and stuff, I wish I could put the roughness I created onto this right here, but I can't because they're not the same UV set, so there would be chaos. It would not work out very well. I think what I'm going to look into is how to make the Blender viewport mimic Unreal Engine as closely as possible. And then once I get that in there, I should be able to like dial in the roughness even more. Thanks, Labrat. Thanks. Yeah, we're getting into the very very subtle stuff, especially here in the face. I'm wondering. I'm being very nitpicky about it, especially here because it's the focal point of the animal. So I want to make sure I'm spending a good amount of time refining this part. Like I said, there's some like randomness that I introduced. I don't want to get rid of all of it, but I don't want to make it all about the randomness either. Is this skin pattern is actually very structured. Like it's got a lot of like very clean patterns, like very clean edges. Well defined areas, I mean. So I want to make sure that I'm staying true to that while kind of improving the I guess the fidelity. Yeah, Libra. That's gonna be cool. I mean, I've seen the Eocarcharia a lot. All the new animations and stuff with them, but I think once we get a complementary, herbivore species in there, it's really gonna start to feel really cool. It's gonna start to feel like a real ecosystem, Thanks, Captain Reptile. I appreciate it. I'll show you the lit version. I generally like to work in the like flat version because it helps me see the color variation better. But sometimes, I mean, I think it looks way better when it's lit like this than when it's just flat, but sometimes the values make it hard to see what I'm doing. It's like in the concept, all of this stuff here is kind of, it's just implied by like a gradient. But if I did that for real, like if I just put a gradient here, it would look kind of blurry, like mushy. But it still needs to look like you're fading from one color to another. So a lot of the times what's better to do in a situation like that is to make us like almost like stippling. Make like lots of little dots or lots of little markings like speckles or freckles sort of thing to kind of fade from one area of color to another, which is what I'm doing now. Kind of. I'm still adding in just a bit of a gradient to help support the transition, but it's not as strong or like it's not as simple as just a gradient by itself. It's combined with some harder mark making in the form of spots. It's a little bit of like peppering of detail. I think after this stream we'll be pretty close. I'm trying to think of what else I need to do. I have to, well, of course, finalize this texture. And then maybe next week I have to do the growth stages for the Urano. So maybe we can get into some of that next week. We do like the baby version and then the growth all the way up to adult. There's some planning I need to do for that though. Probably a bit of sketching to just like figure out exactly how the body shape is going to change. That way when I go into 3D, I'm not like guessing about stuff. Because I did do that on the Eocarcharia. I kind of just jumped into the 3D, and I think it worked out well. It's just it was harder than I thought it was going to be. So I think a little bit of pre-planning would work better. It'd help my brain process things much better. Wherever I can give my brain a break, you know, I will try to do that. This stuff down here, so like you see some asymmetry already developing, but closer to the end of this process, what I'll do is, so that way it's not so mirrored, I will I'll come in and do like differences from one side to the other. So that way it looks more naturalistic. It's not like a perfect symmetry. But for right now, I'm just doing symmetrical, perfect symmetrical painting. I did add this kind of, so this isn't in the concept. I'm kind of like, this is a little opportunity for me to make up some patterning here because we can't see, in the concept you can't see the chest. So what I did was there's some striping there that I carried over from the shoulder area. I need to define it better, but that's kind of the idea here, is the stripes kind of wrap around. I want to cut in just a little bit of something harsher. Just to like add some harder edges in there so that it's not so grainy. And then maybe come back with some random spots. This random spots brush, I think dots it's called, is really nice. And then I like to pair it with, I made one. Where is it? This one? No, that's not mine. That is Kyle's. I don't know who Kyle is, but that's his brush. This one, I think. This is a little bit harsher. And then I kind of sprinkle that in there. There's another one I like too. I think it's this one. Yeah. I know. Where is it? Maybe I didn't load it. There's one little dot brush that I have that's it's like very tiny little dots, but they're spaced out pretty far away from each other. And I like to use it on areas like this. I'm being too lazy to load it up right now, but I'll get it in here. This one will work fine for here. It's kind of random. I'll do that. That sort of thing is going to happen all throughout here. So I got to get that in there. And then there's some cleanup that needs to happen up here. But we're almost there. I think. Get that dot brush back again. Where is it? Just to add a little bit of a transition here. And we'll go back to these guys. I want to be very careful here because this is one of those areas that was much more specific. That the line definition on the concept is darker. So like stronger, I should say. So I'm going to keep it strong. But I just want to add just the tiniest little hint of randomness there. Okay. So we're at 8:03. I'm going to end the stream here. Next week we'll see what we get into. I think I probably will work on this over the weekend. I'll get some more progress on the skin. Depending on where we're at, though, I think on next Wednesday I'm going to work on the growth stages. We'll see, but I think that's likely what we'll do. The growth stages for the Ourano, do some planning, some sketching, see how the baby's going to grow up into the adult. And then maybe if I'm efficient enough, maybe we'll actually get into like the 3D part of that. Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming in, stopping by on a Wednesday and hanging out with me. Taking a look at my process and all the stuff that we have going on with the Ourano. Dasher, if you're still there, congratulations. I hope you have a good time, with your events around your graduation. Maybe if you're here Saturday or next Wednesday, let me know how that goes. Wish you well today, and enjoy your time. Thanks everybody. I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye.